Recording in progress.
What's good, family? I'm your man, Trey, Fraser. I got my brother, Maestro Styles, here with me. And
Yes,
this
sir.
is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Special shout out to all of our Facebook Live viewers. Make sure y'all continue to click on the like button on the Facebook page. Also, you can follow us on our social media on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hey, brother, man. What's good, man? Another week, another busy
man?
week.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
Busy week, man. I'm great, man. I'm great. You know what? Let's get into the real shit.
Yep. Let's get into it. Jon Gruden out as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. A couple of days ago, had an email surface from 10 years ago while he was doing Monday Night Football for ESPN. That email consisted of racist comments towards DeMaurice Smith, who is the NFL Players Association head guy. And then just yesterday, more stuff came out from other emails dating back just, a few years ago. And I think the twist in all this is that these emails came out of the NFL's investigation of the Washington football team with all the mess that they had going on, with sexual assault, not sexual assault, but sexual harassment,
Harassment.
all that stuff that was going on with the football team, under Dan Snyder's watch and everything. So all those emails were pulled from that investigation. And then, moments after that was discovered, and this was in the New York Times as well, Wall Street Journal, all these emails leaked to those sources. They released the story and NFL people confirmed it.
So we can read the emails now?
That I don't know. Because I haven't personally seen the emails myself, but
Gotcha.
It was confirmed that the emails were from Jon Gruden to several different NFL people, around the league. And so now that happened. It was announced during halftime, last night's game that Jon Gruden decided he was going to step down and resign. Better for the football team and all that stuff. And I just found out just an hour ago that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has removed him from the Buccaneers Ring of Honor, and rightfully so. I have no problems with that. So I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. Your thoughts on all this?
One time for cancel culture, bruh. This is the one time, or one of the one times. R. Kelly would probably be another good example of when cancel culture got it right.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man. If I'm being honest about my initial thoughts, my initial thoughts are always going to be, hey, man, he did this shit years ago. Wrong for certain, but how do you punish somebody for something they did over 5, maybe 10 years ago, without questioning their current beliefs, their current behavior, those types of things.
Yep.
It seems with everything that, the likes of Keyshawn and, even with Antonio Brown, more recently, these seem to be reoccurring issues or incidents that circle around Jon Gruden. So, I would love to sit here and say I feel a way about the whole 10 years and not questioning his character now, because we don't know who he is as a man now. But this is the one situation where it's like, you know what? Fuck him. He should be fired. Fire him. Give him all the smoke. Give him all those all the backlash and media press that he's getting, give him every single ounce of the smoke that he's getting plus more. But I will say this, and I gotta credit my man Newton Mayo on Twitter, because I saw this idea from him first,
Yeah.
and thought it was a profound idea.
Mm-hmm.
Especially circling around the whole Dave Chappelle special that came out last week.
Yeah.
So Friday, when it was just about when the story came out about him just talking about DeMaurice Smith,
Yes.
we wasn't talking about firing him. He didn't step down so fast, so easily.
Yeah.
But the second the words homophobic or those types of comments came out. Yeah, now all of a sudden you want to resign. Now, is it just me or is it a conspiracy? It's just time. It feels like the NFL or whoever, Jon Gruden, everybody involved, maybe felt like that they could shake their way out of this one if they was just talking about a black man. But once the stories came out against him talking about him being a homophobe or having homophobic comments, now all of a sudden he a distraction to the team, and all of a sudden he's going to step down. And I hate to be the I guess the pessimist in the situation, to kind of put us in the same situation, like like we are the still the more oppressed social class. But
yeah,
I mean, I can't help since hearing that thought from somebody, like, damn, it really do feel like they thought they was going to shake this when it was just talking about a black man, but now that it's talking about the
the gay community.
The gay community. Yeah. Right. Well, it's not just the gay community. That's why I try to make sure I get it right. It's not just that community. Gotcha. But it seemed like once that community got involved, the fire really got up under his ass. Was like, all right, let me get up out of here before it get more ugly.
Yeah, yeah, and to that point, LGBTQ community, they become powerful within the last few years, bruh. Like, I mean, you say anything bad about that group of people, your ass gonna get cut. It just is what it is.
Seems that way. Seems like I said, I'll say it again. It seems like more so than saying something racist, that if you say something about that community, you're gonna be in some hot water.
Yeah, yeah. So when the news first broke about Jon Gruden, about the first email about DeMaurice Smith, I immediately said he should be fired. For me, it was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't go to NFL stadiums, you see the words "end racism" on the sideline in chalk, around the goalpost, "stop hate," all these monikers in football stadiums now. You can't promote this stuff if you're the league and then not fire Jon Gruden, or the Raiders not, make the step to say, hey, listen, we're not going to tolerate this. So just off the one email to DeMaurice Smith, he should have been fired, from the jump. There shouldn't have been no, we're going to investigate this. And quite frankly, I don't care that he wasn't in the league at the time of this email. I don't care that he was with ESPN calling Monday Night Football. But it's just that when things like this come out and there's an outcry, and there was a clear outcry from our community about this, that the NFL should have stepped in, the Raiders should have stepped in and said, hey, before this thing becomes a big brouhaha, let's just get rid of this guy, or at least force him, to step down. But to your point, it seems like when it's the LGBTQ community, and even misogynist comments were in those second set of emails. Something about he was against females being referees in the game now and all that. He was against that. He was against the whole thing with Eric Reed. I think some of that came out when he was going up against the league for the CBA when he was going up against the league
Right.
for that. He was
Right.
against that. He was against Michael Sam when he was drafted, and I think he had something to say about Jeff Fisher and the decision that Jeff Fisher made at the time when he was the
Damn. All that came
Rams.
out.
Yeah, all that came out.
Wow.
Like specifically,
Wow.
all that stuff came out.
Wow.
It does seem like when it's that group of people that have an issue, or that group of people is offended, that it's like, okay, now we got to drop the hammer now. And it's
Now
like,
we
well,
got-
wait a
right.
minute. Wait a minute. Y'all should have been dropped the hammer on this. You got end racism on the end zone. You got end racism around these goalposts. Like, say what you mean, NFL. So
Right.
I kind of thought they dropped the ball on that initially. Now, here's where I hope this gets messier, right? Because now the Washington football team has been trending for a couple of days now because the second set of emails came out of that investigation.
And
So,
also, to add context to the football team's woes,
yep.
they have a trainer, Vermillion or something like that, who was a ex Carolina Panthers trainer, I believe,
Okay.
who was in the news about the same kind of sexual harassment, same types of conversations.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that definitely needs to be pointed out too. But
Yeah.
here's where I hope this thing gets messier, right? So, the Washington football team, this investigation that took place back in the summer, sometime, a
Summer,
few
yeah.
months ago, and you really hadn't heard much about it. Like the conclusion of what their findings were. All we knew was that they hired like private investigators to do the investigation, and I kind of looked at it like private investigation. Like, what's like there's a like conflict of interest right there when you start talking about hiring people from within to do an investigation. So we never heard the conclusion of what happened with what they found here. I mean, we knew about the cheerleaders overseas taking pictures. We knew about them holding passports to cheerleaders that wanted to leave the island early to come back to the States. We knew about the play-by-play guy getting into some stuff, which was why he stepped down like quickly and like got himself up out of there. We heard a lot of things amongst the males within that organization at the top. I mean, Bruce Allen, that's another name that I think we need to, put to the forefront, because some of those emails was back and forth between Jon Gruden and Bruce Allen. Another name to throw
Right.
out there, Jay Gruden, Jon Gruden's brother. That he
Right.
coached the football team, for a number of years, while all that mess was taking place. So here's what I would ask of the NFL. Look, y'all hired these people, private investigators, to sort through this thing. There was really no big, bomb that came of this, that concluded of this. This kind of was swept under the rug, and now that we've kind of ousted Jon Gruden because you're pulling from this investigation, y'all hiding something. Like
Yeah.
y'all know y'all slick, but y'all hiding something. Y'all protecting somebody. And if you're protecting someone like a Dan Snyder, then I'm sorry, bruh. Like, they gotta release some of that stuff. You're talking about 650,000 emails, and that's a lot of emails to sift through. I understand, but you can't tell me that you're just gonna pick just Jon Gruden out of that group of emails
Out of
and
that,
say,
bro.
"Oh, he's the scapegoat." No, 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 no. That stuff been going on amongst other people. It has to. And if you gotta put Dan Snyder on the forefront, and we've been talking about this since we in the area here. Sell the football team. We've been hashtagging that for a while now. Sell the damn football team, bruh. It's got to get to a point where this has to go another level. You can't just pick
Yeah.
from that. You can't just pick from the bad apple tree. Pick one bad apple and then say, "Oh, let's just leave the rest of the bad apples on the tree." No, 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 NFL. Yeah, yeah, y'all gonna have to do better than that. Y'all gonna have to come out with some more names.
And you know something that they can do almost immediately?
What's
If they can
that?
start taking draft picks. They can start taking draft picks ASAP.
They could. They could.
They can start taking draft picks ASAP.
Because they
I don't
already got
understand how
fined.
these yeah, who the football team
The
did.
football team did get fined. That was confirmed as a
Right,
part of the conclusion of the investigation. To me, that's not enough.
right.
Not now anyway. Not now that we know that there's
Not
some
in
other
this
stuff.
instance,
Right, right. Now that we know what else is going on.
because why wasn't Jon Gruden right? Because why are we just getting the story now? And if they had sifted through, if they did that investigation with the football team, you telling me they just now realized Jon Gruden? They just noticing Jon Gruden name now? Yeah, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, some more punishment need to be delved out,
You know.
and
Oh, go ahead.
and Vegas need to take some L. Vegas need to take some draft pick L's too. Some fines. They need to take some L's too.
Yeah, I think the owner should take some L's on this one. You can't tell me that Mark Davis had no idea about, and it's really not the email portion of this. It's Jon Gruden's character. It's all the things that he says to other people in the league. It's like what you mentioned about Keyshawn, what he said earlier on television this morning.
Well, I
It's,
won't
it's
pretend to know his character. I'm only speaking to other people's accounts, so I don't know who he is as a
I
person.
am
Truth
too.
be told, yeah, truth be told, he might not be racist or any of these things that these emails paint him out to be. But guess what?
Yeah.
You got caught.
Right, right. And quite
So,
frankly,
so
nobody's caping for
you,
him. Nobody's caping for him at this point. Now, there were a couple of people that caped for him
well, I have
the other
heard
night.
people keep,
There was a couple of people on
yeah.
TV, like Tony Dungy, slightly caped for him on the NBC
Ain't no, wasn't
broadcast.
no slight about it. Wasn't no
And
slight about it.
yeah, he caped for him, and Tarico, who was doing the play-by-play with Gruden on ESPN at the time, he caped for him also. And
Right.
speaking of ESPN, if I'm some of those employees, I might be thinking about, oh snap, I might have to check my sent box in these emails, because who knows if ESPN is kind of doing their own internal investigation on, okay, who is Jon Gruden been talking to
Yeah.
during his tenure at ESPN. So if I'm
Right.
an ESPN employee that has interacted with him, I would be worried, and I would be sifting through sent boxes and inboxes and all this stuff to make sure that your tracks is covered.
Right, I agree 100%. Going on to the I guess the future of the Las Vegas Raiders. Immediately, I mean effective immediate. Well, not effective immediately. I guess you got to let the season end. Uh, I don't know whatever affirmative action quotas they need to fill. The NFL needs to fill.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Eric Bieniemy wants to come to Las Vegas, he needs to be on a magic carpet ride to Las Vegas
Yeah.
next off season. On a magic carpet ride, because it seemed like don't nobody want to hire him for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But he need to get the magic carpet ride to Las Vegas if he decides he wants to be a head coach next year, or I mean, which obviously he wants to be a head coach.
Right,
If he
right.
wants the Vegas job, he for certain needs to be on the magic carpet ride to Vegas, because yeah, that look, y'all been pandering meaning the NFL, y'all been pandering this long. Go ahead, keep it going. Get my man a job.
That was just my internal thoughts too. And just in thinking about who's going to coach the Raiders moving forward, Bieniemy was a name that came to mind. And you know who else we got to throw out there? Byron Leftwich should be a candidate, for a head
Yeah,
coaching position.
yeah,
Todd Bowles, even though Todd Bowles coached previously with the Jets and had an unsuccessful stint, I believe he deserves a second shot at a head coaching gig elsewhere. The Raiders would be, a perfect fit for him as well. And I'm sure there's several other black assistants throughout the league. I know Miami's got a few black assistants on their staff. There's quite several others that my name's escaping me, but yeah, I personally think that if you're the Raiders and you done sifted through all this stuff and y'all been through the past few days, y'all need to just go ahead and just hire an African American coach. And if it's pandering, it's pandering. So be it.
Yep.
So be
We'll
it.
take the pandering this time, cause yeah, we'll take it this time. We'll take the gesture this time,
Yep.
especially because we believe Eric Bieniemy is going to be a good coach. We'll
Right.
take it.
Right. And whoever it is, whether it's Eric Bieniemy or Byron Leftwich or whoever else, if that person's black, then at least I know deep down inside that guy is given a real opportunity to coach this football team, which is playing better football, to start the season than they did last year. I know they had a couple of, games in a row where they've, slipped. The Bears game on Sunday, that was clearly them not being focused because of the whole Jon Gruden thing. Them losing to the Bears. And not so much losing, but the way they played, I think, was a result of what was going on with Jon Gruden and that whole fiasco.
And not to mention, man, they got a gay player on their football team right now.
Carl
An
Nassib.
openly gay football player on their team,
Yeah.
on their football team right now.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you. I mean, I don't pretend like I had playoff expectations for the Raiders, but obviously they were, in the first couple of weeks we were looking at them like maybe they had
Probably
a shot.
Probably the most impressive 3-0 team of the 3-0 teams
At the
that
same
started out.
time, yeah.
Yep.
Right, but I see nothing but gloom and despair for the rest of their season. I ain't even gonna hold you. I think this kind of story, this kind of situation. I don't know. I know they. I think I don't know the name of the guy they brung up to be the interim, but Jon Gruden had something going with this team, and like it or not, he had something bubbling with this team, and I don't believe whoever the guy is going to be able to carry on tradition. I think this goes bad for them as a football team. I think this looms over their head for the rest of the season, at least.
I disagree with you there. I think it's going to go two extremes, and I say I'll half disagree with you because I do agree. I think this season can go sideways quick and in a hurry, but the other extreme could be maybe this team rallies around this situation and just says, "Hey, he's not here no more. We don't have to deal with this. Let's just focus on football." And this team might just come out like gangbusters and maybe put together a 12-5, 11-6 kind of a season. I think it goes two extremes though. I don't think there's no gray area. I think either they're gonna come together.
I mean, yeah, but
and do and get to the playoffs with a great record, or they're just gonna take a nosedive completely.
Yeah, I don't see them having no remember the Titans moment when half of that team or over half of that team was black and didn't realize, or maybe they did, or maybe they didn't realize that Jon Gruden didn't really like them, or but that's a lot of emotions going around knowing you played for a guy who was racist, knowing in Carl Nassib's case, knowing you played for a guy who spoke that way about your group of people, about you specifically as a gay man. I don't see that going. I mean, I don't even. Yeah, I don't see that. I'll just say I don't see that. I don't see no. Yo, we all we got. I don't see no remember the Titans moment. I see them.
We fight.
Because at the same time, bro, you gotta respect that. Jon Gruden did have a lot to do on hands wise with X's and O's.
Yeah.
So that X's and O's
and with Derek Carr,
and O's situation is
I
gone.
agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's gone. That's gone.
I totally agree with that. And
Jon Gruden's football pedigree, meaning only talk about X's and O's and not who he's being painted out to be as a person.
Yeah.
All that shit is all the X's and O's shit. His at his experience level, that shit is out the window.
Mm-hmm. I think it's safe to say Jon Gruden's days around the National Football League, front office, coach, whatever, media, it's done. It's done.
Yeah. Well, I won't say done. I'll say that I'll say that in 7 to 10 years, maybe not even that long. He'll be able to get a. He won't work at ESPN. He won't work at any major network anymore.
Yeah, he'll do like a podcast or something like that.
But he'll definitely get on one of these low circuit, one of these
Barstool or
lower,
something like that.
not even. But I'm talking about major corporate. I'm not even necessarily talking about podcasting networks. I'm talking about the in our area we have what CSN, MS. Those.
Oh yeah, NBC Sports.
Like he'll find something like that where he can get in a couple of years. It'll be 5. It'll be a while after all this. Yeah, it'll be after all this boils over, but I think he'll find his way. I think he'll be fine. People eventually forget, and his football IQ is high, and he's experienced at the job.
Yeah, people bring up him cutting Marquette King, the black punter, a couple of years ago because of Marquette King's personality. They bring up the fact that when Jon Gruden got there, he sort of ruffled Khalil Mack's feathers a little bit and, traded him. And so there's, people are bringing that stuff up, I guess, to kind of solidify, hey, Jon Gruden really...
He was racist all along.
But yeah.
Certainly questionable moves. More specifically, Khalil Mack.
Yep.
I'm not gonna go that deep because I don't know the ins and outs of what happened specifically with Marquette King. Certainly questionable. I'm not gonna go. I don't even care to go that far into the conspiracy theory because there were other black players on the team. So
yeah, and I wasn't really trying to say there was a racial undertone to those two particular instances. I was just making the point that Jon Gruden came to a situation and kind of messed it up. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't trade Khalil Mack. You know what I'm saying? You find a way to get that brother a contract. You know what I'm saying?
You say messed it up, and I remember me and you both were on this. He fucking it up, but I mean. Hell, 2 weeks ago we was talking about this team in a totally different light, and that maybe if they make the playoffs, that we gotta talk about him different. Like we were literally saying that 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
So I mean, I won't say he was messing it up. I mean, it's for certain stupid calls in my opinion.
I'll say an immediate mess up because they struggled the first 3 years. I mean, well, his first year for certain he struggled. Then the second year they got off to like a 6-4 start. Then they crumbled, and then last year started off the same 7-4, and then down the stretch. Yeah.
So I mean, for all intents and purposes, everything may have been going according to plan.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah. So can we talk about more drama with the NBA? I hate to shift different sports, but this kind of...
No, we can shift sports.
Yeah. 18 ex-NBA players have been charged with insurance fraud totaling approximately $40 million from the league. Most of these were...
$40 million or $4 million?
I saw $40 million. Now, you saw $4 million?
I'm pretty because I was looking at Skip and Shannon and it said $4 million.
$4 million. Okay. I mean, it's possible. I might have got that number incorrect there, but nonetheless, there were millions of dollars of claims being made by these players saying that they got certain work done physically, and it turned out to be false. The names that were on this list range from Darius Miles, Tony Allen. Tony Allen's wife was on this list. Big Baby Davis, and I'm missing another name that I know about. But mostly all these guys that were on this list are role players. So your thoughts on this development?
Hey man, in short, Trey, the Bamas that when you do dirt, it may eventually come back around to bite you in the ass, and that's just what this situation is. It came to bite them in the ass. I get maybe they don't have all the money they want, to do the types of things, and they took advantage of it. How they could take advantage of it, they saw an opportunity to come up, and I get it. Niggas want to come up, but if you get caught, you get the smoke that comes with getting caught. I to go back to Skip and Shannon, I seen Shannon Sharp was real passionate about how this affects other players who really needed medical attention.
Yeah.
Now they have to go through a little more strenuous process to get the medical attention they need because cats that's playing fraud and all those types of things. And he had a valid point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you making it tough, but I get that other perspective too. It's like, hey, bro, like I'm fucked up, and this is a way for me to come up. If I gotta save a couple dollars. These cats were rich in the scheme of, or are rich in the scheme of, what me and you make, but lifestyle wise, they weren't making monies up with the top guys, and these weren't like some of the more high grossing net players salary wise in the league. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you trying to keep up with a lifestyle, then you see a way to save a couple dollars so you can keep up with that lifestyle better, maybe. I mean, a nigga see it come up, a nigga got that temptation to get to get it or don't. And they chose to get it, and they got it, and they gonna get it. Whatever come, they gonna get the consequences that come with it. I don't think they coming out of this clean, and they got what was coming to them. They got what's coming to them for being caught.
And you're right, it was $4 million, by the way. So that was confirmed. I just pulled the article up. It said $4 million.
What's deep, and what's even deeper than that is, them cats probably was doing that trying to save money, because they ain't had the bread to necessarily do it, to pay for it out of pocket or however they needed to pay for it. And then would come back to them. I hope they got the money now, because they definitely about to get hit with that cost plus fines at least.
Yeah. Good point.
So that should all come full circle, man.
So I thought about a couple things, and the other names that were on the list that are recognizable. Shannon Brown, who I think had kids with Monica. I think at one point.
Monica, right? He was married to Monica.
Married to Monica. Okay, yeah. So Shannon Brown and Sebastian Telfair is the other cat who already was in a world of trouble with some other stuff that was going on.
And you're right. So I mean, and I hate this, and I hate to like put stereotypes on some of them names, more specifically Sebastian Telfair. But
yeah,
I know it's documented that Sebastian Telfair was having a difficult time when he was in the league.
Yeah,
personal problems, financial issues, like, so it makes sense that a name like Sebastian Telfair would be in this type of story. Yeah. But it's just like I said, I get it. I mean, if you ain't got it or you need to save it, this is a situation where it was like, all right, maybe I can get this off.
Right.
And you got caught.
So the one thing I thought about when I first read the story was how the National Football League, and I hate to switch it to the other sport, but I immediately thought about the National Football League, and here's why. Because of the situation that was going on with concussions, CTE, the fact that the NFL didn't have a particular pot of millions for ex-players who have came and gone and, lived their life and have claimed, and, there were a lot of older players, ex-NFL players saying, hey, the league hasn't been taking care of us. On the backside of our lives, and it kind of pertains, and it kind of goes aligned with how Eric Reed, he took, I want to say 6 or 7 ex-players' wives with him to the table when they were negotiating this current CBA, a few months ago, And one of the things that Eric Reed wanted the women to express at the table was how difficult it is for them to caretake for their husbands who have, whether it's CTE, concussions, whether it's something physical or a hip, or they can't get out of bed, they can't get off the couch, and these women have to quit their jobs because they got to play caretaker full time. And I think about things like that, and I don't know how well the NBA takes care of its players after they're done playing. I don't know it all that well, but I'm just wondering for the players that got themselves into this insurance fraud thing. Like you mentioned it before. These are role players who haven't been paid the biggest amount of contracts and haven't made a lot of money, so they've kind of had to play with what they were paid while trying to live a superstar-ish lifestyle. So I just wonder,
which they didn't have to do, by the way.
I agree with 100%. Did some of these players get into this because it could have just been as simple as the money was just available, it was easy, or was it because they felt like the NBA wasn't putting out enough money to protect them, life after basketball? I just wonder what that situation is with the NBA.
Yeah, one way or the other, whether if the NBA is guilty of not taking care of their players after their careers, that's another issue that needs to be addressed. But this ain't the way to do it, and you got caught.
Definitely not the way to do it for certain. And I guess you gotta.
And unfortunately for those who did it for the sake of survival and sake of staying healthy and not like just trying to, be criminal, be a crook, or trying to get over.
Yep.
Unfortunately for those people, it's coming back. It's coming back to you tenfold.
Yeah, man. Gotta feel for these families, man, and these kids too, man. It's like, they're getting something like this. It's definitely a crapshoot, and it's either you're gonna go one way or you're gonna go the other way, and it's gonna get ugly. When it comes down to sentencing, plea deals, and things like that. Like, lawyers are gonna be like dying to get a hold of a case like this, representing these players, because there's a lot to sift through. So
they're gonna be taking L's. So lawyers gonna be taking L's.
Well, it depends on how much reasonable doubt that they can, add to the cases. It depends on all that. Money talks. You and I know.
Well, I tell you what their argument. I tell you what their argument won't be. Their argument won't be, well, I did it because the NBA don't take care of us.
Of course not.
That won't be the argument.
Of course not. But you just never know with these kinds of cases. And then, again, these are ex-players. And so money's going to be involved. And with money, you can get yourself out of, things like this. Maybe lighten your sentence. Maybe not do as much time as what it would be in a situation like this.
Do you think somebody's doing time? You think one of these players is doing time for real?
I honestly do, and I hate to say that.
I don't think so. I think
what you think?
I think they're gonna be. I think every single one of them gonna get hefty fines.
Okay. Best case scenario.
I don't think anybody
right?
doing no time.
Best case scenario.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's what I would hope for. But I don't know. Johnny Cochran ain't coming out the grave. Rest in peace. So they're gonna have to get some excellent lawyers to really, dig deep on this one for certain. Week 5 in the NFL.
How you feel about Kyrie, man?
Oh, okay. You want to go to Kyrie?
Nah, I want to know how you feel about Kyrie. Man.
Yeah.
He is essentially he is not allowed to come to the practice and play games at all, road games included.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yep. So the team came out and they said, "Look, either you're gonna play or you're not gonna play." Even though we
Either you're
respect
gonna
their
get
decision.
vaccinated or you're not gonna play.
Exactly. Either we even though they said they respect the fact that he chose not to get vaccinated, but my whole thing with the Kyrie situation is that I always thought no matter what they do, no matter, when it all boils down to it, this is a championship caliber basketball team. I mean, this is the team that is favored to bring the chip home. So I always thought eventually he's going to play. They're going to figure it out, even if it means that they got to lie about his vaccination status just to get him to play, that they would find a way to get him on the court, even at
You think
Barclays
they would
Center.
play like that?
It
Do you
wouldn't
think they would
surprise
play
me.
like faking a vaccination? Because the thing about it is
Yeah.
that my understanding is that fake vaccinations are a felony. That's my understanding. Um, correct. You
And
think
if
they're
it
going that
is,
hard to get
and
Kyrie to
if it
play?
is, if it's a felony, then I still wouldn't put it past people. I wouldn't put
Okay.
it past people. Not to say, I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do, but in my mind, I'm just of the notion that he's going to play. He's eventually going to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play, whether it means he gets the shot or whether they find a way, find some kind of
A
loophole
loophole
to
to get him to
where
play.
he can play at those games at Barclays Center. Because and I think this is a stupid rule. I think you and I talked about this, when they first made this decision, and it's not just at
Mm-hmm.
Barclays Center, it's at Madison Square Garden, and it's at San Francisco where the Warriors play now, that if you're the home team, all the players have to be vaccinated, but the road team that's coming from a different state can play. Like, that to me doesn't make sense to
Mm-hmm.
me at all. So it's a lot of
Right.
inconsistencies where it comes to that. So, um, look, if Kyrie,
Do you think Kyrie Irving is being selfish?
uh, in the team circles, yes, I think it's selfish in a team circle. And I say it for this reason alone, is that it's sort of the runaround, right? Like we're what? We're a week away from opening, tip off. The season starts next week, and we're still
Mm-hmm.
having this
Mm-hmm.
conversation about whether Kyrie is going to play the season or not. Like, we've been talking about this for, it feels like, 6 to 8 weeks now, and there's still been no kind of conclusion up until this point. Kind of giving Kyrie the ultimatum: hey, you're gonna play or you're not gonna play. You're gonna get the shot or you're not gonna get the shot. Like, it's kind of been like that back and forth in that realm where I say it's selfish. Now, if he's concerned about his body, he's concerned about what he's putting in his
Well,
body in
clearly that's
terms
what
of
he's
the shot.
concerned about.
Right. Or but it could also be, something religious. It could just be something against his doing, against his norm. I could respect that. If he's seriously concerned about it, then I think he has every God given right to make that decision. But in team circles, yeah, it's definitely selfish. Let's remember, him and Kevin Durant came together and said, "Hey, we want to come to New York. You know, it's going to be the Knicks or it's going to be the Nets." They decided they wanted to come to Brooklyn. Like this, they started this together, right? And to kind of see this, you know, not come to fruition, because the first year nobody played, right? Kevin Durant had the Achilles. Kyrie, he started the season, but he had some injuries. He ended up not playing some games. And then this past year, I think there was like 7 games total out of 82 where it was Harden, Durant, and Kyrie on the floor at the same time. Just 7 games in the regular season that they played. So, like, to me, if you're Kyrie, and you want to kind of finish this thing off, like, not be selfish about it, then you got to see this thing come to fruition.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I hate that term selfish in this situation. How is he being selfish for doing what's in his best personal interest?
Um, he's not in terms of his self, trying to preserve, his life and things like that.
If
He's
he
not
feels like,
selfish.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, because like take it off coronavirus for a second.
Yep.
If they told him, we gonna make you because let's be clear about it.
Yep.
This is a job.
Mm-hmm.
This is a job. We not family. We not none of that. I get that they work in close quarters and all those things
Yeah.
and
They do
all those
stuff away
things.
from the court and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time together trying to build team chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And I acknowledge that those are real things. But at the end of the day, how can you be mad at somebody for doing what's best for them, what they feel is best for them personally? And you being their employer say you're being selfish if it's not something that you have to do. And I liken it to what's happening in America. This is nothing different from what's happening in America to people trying to get new jobs, whereas or trying to stay on their job.
Yeah.
And they say, well, it's your choice whether you're going to get vaccinated or not, but if you don't get vaccinated, you can't work for us. Well then, if we're talking about my livelihood, I don't really have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially nowadays where applications are saying very plainly, if you're not vaccinated, we're not hiring you.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so with that being said, um, I think what's going to end up happening with Kyrie Irving is going to end up happening with the majority of people in America, the world for that matter. He's
Yeah.
going to end up getting vaccinated because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, bruh, what you're now telling me that I can't make my money and I can't my livelihood, what I've been working at doing for my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here now. He stands to miss what like 340 something K a game.
Yeah.
Every game he don't play some crazy
Yeah.
number like that.
Yeah.
So you telling me I got to miss out on all that money because of a personal choice that I made? Because y'all are in a championship run. Look, I get that y'all are in a championship run. Like this is the best chance that y'all gonna have to win a championship
Mm-hmm.
with KD, Harden, and Kyrie. I get that. I'm
Yeah.
not even saying that. I can't even. I'm not even saying that they don't have a right to feel a way about the way they feel because of the opportunity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't like people like Stephen A coming out and saying selfish as if they shouldn't look out for their self in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they should look out for themselves because
Yeah.
God forbid, and I mean God forbid truly, because I truly understand me, Maestro, unvaccinated, that there's probably going to come down. It's probably going to come down to a point in time where my livelihood is going to be questioned,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna end up having to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But that time ain't here right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and
Ride it
do
out.
it the way I and so that's what I'm going to do. Like I know like I just got finished talking up to a family member who said if I didn't get it, they was going to fire me. I was going to lose my job. What was I
Mm-hmm.
going to do? Lose my job? I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose where I live. I don't want to stop making money.
Yep.
So it really came down to that. It's not really like they're trying to make it where it's not a choice.
Yeah.
And I'm not. If he does or doesn't, I wouldn't be mad at him either way because I understand what's at stake.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's a tough. I just don't like that term. You're being selfish for looking out for what you feel is best for you and your family. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
that term.
Yeah,
I don't like selfish.
I could respect that though. If we're just strictly talking about looking out for himself, looking out for his best interest, his body, his physical, his mental. Yeah,
Because
I
please
could.
believe, Trey,
Mm-hmm.
not to cut you off, but please believe that the Nets are going to look it whether he when the Nets, the owner of the Nets, the team, however, they are always going to look out for their best interest over the person.
Mm-hmm.
Every single
Facts.
time. So why is it
Facts.
so wrong for him to look out for him in his best interest? Why is that so wrong? Why are you
Facts.
calling and why is Stephen A out here to, like, I don't understand that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this goes beyond basketball. This goes beyond this game, dog. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking
Right.
about
Right.
life, and we're literally talking about life and death, and people making decisions based on what they feel like is going to have them live and what's going to have them die.
Mm-hmm.
These are the
Yeah.
decisions that we are being forced to make. So I don't like that he equates life and death matters to being selfish when we're just talking about a job, a game.
Right. Right. And just to kind of clarify my reasons for why I say it's selfish, I'm just talking in the context of, hey, what are you gonna do, Kyrie? Either you're gonna get the shot or you're not gonna get the shot. Let's
But I
not
think
make a
he's being clear
spectacle
that he's
about
not
it.
getting the shot.
Sure, but why does it
I don't
have
think
to?
I don't.
Why does it have to be a spectacle about this? Like, why are we like every week? There's this conversation
But
about
what has Kyrie done to make this a spectacle?
what has
But
he
what has
done?
Kyrie done to make? He hasn't done anything to make this a spectacle. All he said is that he's not getting vaccinated, and then the media covers it every day.
Yeah,
He
well,
hasn't done
good,
anything.
well, good, I mean, good point. I mean, the media definitely is the driving force behind all this, behind the back and
Stephen
forth
A.
and
Stephen
stuff.
A. is like the Stephen A.
Yeah,
is the
good
driver.
point.
Stephen A. talks about it every single day. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
every time I go to First Take Instagram, it feel like he's talking about Kyrie Irving got to go. Kyrie Irving need to stop being selfish.
Good,
And
good
all
point.
these things. And
You know what it is? You know what it is? They want the baby. The baby is they want the Lakers and the Nets. That's that. I think this has to do with this is what they want. Brooklyn versus LA, and they don't want nothing
and that's
to
good. And that's
interfere with
good for
that.
ESPN. And as it's good for ESPN as a corporation, ultimately good for Stephen A. and him making more money.
Mm-hmm.
But that, sir, is what's really selfish. It
Yeah,
seems like you're more concerned
certainly.
with the Brooklyn Nets being in the finals and you having something to cover and you having something more palatable. I'm not saying I'm fucking the word up. More something that people are more interested in watching.
Yeah, but it's
Something that people are more interested in you covering. You're way more interested in the Brooklyn Nets Big Three and covering that all year
yeah,
than you are the concern of him living or dying,
yeah.
or his interest in living and dying.
He's more concerned about going to these places where it's because look,
Capitalist society.
who was in the finals? Milwaukee and Phoenix. Now when you look at those two places, and I've never been to either one of them. Those aren't necessarily big, cities, and Stephen A. has to remind us all the time that LA is where I want to be at, or Miami is where I want to be at, or Atlanta is where I want to be at. It's like calm down, dude. I know you don't like cold
But
weather.
forget,
I know you don't like
but it's
cold
not really
weather.
about cold weather, Trey.
No, I know it's not.
It's not.
I know it's not.
Yeah,
He,
it's
he,
really
he but
about there's more money being
interest.
generated when you're
Hmm.
talking about Brooklyn Nets versus LA Lakers than LA Lakers versus Milwaukee or
Sure.
Milwaukee or you know what I'm saying,
Even
whoever,
though even
like,
though Milwaukee and the Lakers, that would still draw because the Lakers are there.
sure, but it wouldn't be the same as Milwaukee. I mean, as the Lakers in Brooklyn, which is the finals we've been trying to get for about 3 years now. So that is the projected money cash cow finals that
That's what
everybody
they, that's
wants,
that's what everybody want.
and he is drawing his narrative. It feels he's drawing his narrative to to say that's what we need.
You don't want nothing to mess
I
that
don't think
up.
this. Yeah, and he don't want Kyrie Irving messing that up. That's what it feels like.
Even though James Harden, Kevin Durant, they just bought in Paul Millsap. They bought Patty Mills in from San Antonio. They talked LaMarcus Aldridge out of retirement. Blake Griffin is back. That team still could win the Eastern Conference. I mean, when you look at the other teams in the
Not the
East,
same cash cow without Kyrie though, but not the same cash cow without Kyrie.
So you think so?
Not
Do
the
you
same.
so do you think people are not going to watch the finals between Brooklyn and LA because Kyrie's not
No,
there?
no. I'm saying that
Okay.
there's a bigger opportunity for money and to generate listeners, ticks, money, clicks. I'm sorry, clicks, money, those things when Kyrie is involved because Kyrie is a big show. He's a big show. Not
Sure.
saying that those other guys aren't,
I was gonna say Kevin
but
Durant is a show.
sure. But Kyrie, Harden, and Kyrie is a bigger show than Kyrie and Harden by themselves.
Sure. I think it's yeah. You want all three of those guys there. I'm just
And
trying
that's
to
that's what Stephen A is trying to get to
right.
because Kyrie Irving is more likely to make a big play than everybody else not named James Harden and Kevin Durant.
Hmm.
We
No,
know what he do on like highlights. It's highlights. It's those types of
right.
things
But
that
connect that. But connect the highlights to the dollars generated. I guess is where I'm trying to
okay.
make the connection.
You get when you have okay. Let me break this down. You are your metrics meaning clicks. If you think for a second that ESPN doesn't generate money from getting clicks and being and having when they, for instance, I give you a very simple breakdown.
Yeah.
When you do IGTV, when famous people or high follower count peoples on IGTV do, Instagram do IGTVs.
Yeah.
Do you notice that now when you go there, they give you an ad before they give you the actual video?
Yeah. I've noticed that.
ESPN gets a cut of that.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about Kyrie Kyrie crossed up such and such and scored 35. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that they don't care about when Kevin
Right.
Durant and James Harden does it, but it's just another opportunity for a Brooklyn net
Mm-hmm.
to have a big game. You got three legitimate superstars on that team. It's going to generate people going to your platforms, whether it be the
Mm-hmm.
ESPN, Instagram, TikTok, whatever.
Right.
And that's where the more eyes you get on ads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know this game. We're on a low level of playing this game because we don't make that. Obviously, we don't get the viewership
Right.
or the traffic. But you know what I'm saying. We've made money from
Okay.
ads.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we've made money from ads. So we know that if we're constantly talking about like Kyrie scored 35 and we could do 2 segments on Kyrie based on the night he had the night before,
Mm-hmm.
and we're interested in Kyrie, the consumer,
Yeah.
then we got eyes on first take. That's a metric. Now they take that metric to ads. Now we can say, hey, we want this, or hey, we're gonna get this. It works. It's a
Yeah.
money game.
Yeah.
It's a money game. Metrics create revenue.
And now with these highlights, there's something out there now where you can actually have ownership of a highlight, and not only that, you can actually sell that highlight. And get a return on it too. I forget the name of what this thing is about.
NFTs, but I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't
NFT,
think that's
yeah.
what. I don't think that's necessarily what ESPN is trying to do. But my point is that it's more enticing conversation when you're talking about Kyrie Tuesday night,
Mm-hmm.
James Harden Wednesday night, and then Kevin Durant on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
and I think the one thing that's missing from all that too is that no Kyrie, you don't get the storyline of it's Kyrie versus LeBron. They played together. That whole story. They played together in Cleveland. They won the championship. So you would missing Kyrie, you would miss that storyline of the finals.
Kyrie is going to consistently be a money generating story. If you're ESPN, if you're these big sports outlets, Kyrie is going to consistently be a big story, a big ticket, a traffic generating story.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be.
Sure.
That's just the way it's going to be. He's a traffic generating story, and he's going to consistently be. So I feel like to kind of circle back to my point, As long as Kyrie Irving is a high traffic generating story, Stephen A is going to talk about it, and it's the reason why this is a big story. It just is,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So, so Ben Simmons showed up in Philly last night at the Sixers preseason game. Everybody knows that story. Simmons talked about not coming back, not reporting to Sixers camp, the training facility, not coming there. They've been talking about, okay, can we make a trade work here? Can we try to get CJ McCollum out of Portland in a trade? Can we talk about even a Kyrie Irving? Like, that's been, talked about as well, where the Nets and the Sixers wouldn't make a trade.
By the way, the Sixers, I already saw the story, Sixers saying we are not interested in Kyrie Irving, by the way.
Okay. So then you have that. And so now Simmons, he's back. I think he played last night. I don't know what stats, but he got in the game.
He did play?
I believe he did play. Yeah. I believe he played.
Okay.
Someone can correct me on that, but I believe he played.
I don't watch preseason.
Well, just the highlights came on. So I saw him in his jersey. I'll just say that. I saw him in his jersey on the court.
Okay.
But, it appears and you were right, because I remember we had this conversation when they got knocked out by the Hawks in the playoffs, that I was of the notion that there was just no way, with the performance he had in that particular series, that he was coming back to Philly off of that. And there was some traction about trades, and there was something brewing, but it appears that he's going to be a Sixer this season. For now, anyway.
For now.
For now. We'll see what happens, moving forward. Maybe if, this continues in terms of his, his play and not still being able to shoot the basketball.
Well, it seems like he don't want to be there. It seems like it's clear he don't want to be there. But,
yeah, right.
There's money invested at this point. Like, that's not, even if he don't want to be there, it's not like a situation where they could just be like, oh, all right, this ain't a lower level or mid level contract. This is one of the big boy contracts. You ain't about to just push him out of there.
Not just that. He didn't have trade value. He was coming off of a series where he didn't want to touch the ball in the fourth quarter for like 3 or 4 games. Like, that there was no trade value. I mean,
you think he had no trade value?
I think
he had trade value if he was willing to take a pay cut.
I think the only legitimate spot he could have went to was Golden State. I think that was the only fit for him. Otherwise,
you talking about basketball fit or money or basketball?
I'm talking about basketball fit.
Oh nah, Ben Simmons could play more places than the Golden State Warriors. He just can't be looked at as a guy who has to shoot the ball. He could play almost anywhere. Anywhere that's not lacking a scorer, a wing scorer or a guard scorer, he could play.
How many places?
His role
would just be is that though?
Golden State being one, the Blazers being another team. Just freestyle. The Blazers don't need him to shoot the ball.
Just defend, I guess.
They could literally just have him. They literally could just have him defend. In a overglorified, name me a 2 guard that don't score. Thabo Cephalosha when he wasn't, obviously Ben Simmons is a better scorer than Cephalosha was.
I was say Tony Allen when he was in the league.
He could. You telling me Ben Simmons couldn't play in Memphis? With that attitude, with that team attitude,
but he's not gonna play point guard. Obviously, he's gonna play power forward. Yeah,
sure. Hell, it maybe not. Maybe you telling me he couldn't play for the Pistons? Even though that team still wouldn't be good,
was gonna say
that team still wouldn't be good. That team still wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
But they would sell They would sell a little more tickets because Ben Simmons is a still a big name.
Yeah.
Regardless of his play, he's still a big name in the league.
Right.
He could play for plenty of teams.
And either way, no matter who they traded with, it was just gonna have to work on both sides. I mean, we know what Philly would have been looking for in a Ben Simmons trade. They're looking for a guy that can shoot. And there might be 2 or 3 different places where they can get a guy that can, that can shoot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but like I said, he's in Philadelphia. And unless they are able to bring in another shooter, I hate to say it, they're gonna be doing much of the same. They're obviously still a playoff team. They're obviously one of the better teams in the East, top 4 of the East. But
yeah,
I mean, as far as championships, nah. Unless he starts shooting. I mean, look, man, I see it all the time on Instagram, or at least when it was popular, I see it all the time on Instagram where, oh, look, Ben Simmons shooting. Ain't nothing wrong with his shot. He just don't want to be in Philly. So I see that a lot. So, I mean, maybe they can work something out, I guess.
Maybe. I just got one more basketball point before we go into football. Bradley Beal, while we were talking about Kyrie and the vaccine decision and all that, Brad Beal had come out and said that he's not, getting vaccinated, and it's not as big of a story because he plays in DC, which is not, putting that ban on players that are unvaccinated. So,
and
that.
And Stephen A ain't covering it.
You upset at Stephen A tonight, boy.
Dog, I'm not I disagree. I vehemently disagree with him on this one. I don't like the term selfish. It's not that he don't make some valid points about what's going on, but selfish,
right?
Looking out for the team interest over your own personal interest? Come on, bro. Like, that's your life and death is not to be compared to that. Come on, bro.
And quite frankly, what would Stephen A have to cover with Bradley Beal? Like, there's really no juice there.
I don't know.
There's nothing there. Know. He can play at Capital One Arena. Kyrie Irving can't play at the Barclays Center if both guys are unvaccinated. So there's really there's nothing there with Bradley Beal.
That's true too. Yeah, that's true too. You're right.
Week 5 in the NFL. Where you want to start at, man?
I know where I want to start, but I guess my team ain't the biggest story. I guess for me the biggest story, and I can't even really say for me, but the narrative that the Chiefs have been exposed is the narrative that is going around in NFL circles since last Sunday's loss to the Buffalo Bills, where you would have to admit that they were handily beat by the Buffalo Bills 38-20.
Style-wise, yes. Yep.
They were on all phases. They were beat by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you when I say in terms of style, in the style that they beat them, We're on the same level.
It was an ass whipping. Yeah. It was an ass whipping. I mean, 38-20 it don't really tell the entire story. It was an ass whipping. Mm-hmm. I'll say this. For those who feel like the Chiefs still aren't, I mean, look, man. If you're telling me that the Chiefs aren't the number one contender to go to the Super Bowl, okay, I wouldn't argue with you there. Mm-hmm. But to act like the race ain't still between the Chiefs, Buffalo, and Baltimore after this loss, it's like, nah, man. I be honest with you, man. Mm-hmm. The ass whipping that they got, and it was an ass whipping. I do believe some of that energy, some of that vigor, had a lot to do with that AFC Championship game.
It had to, right? At least you got the feeling watching
Yeah,
it. And I watched the game. I watched the first half before they got in that
yeah.
delay. And at that point, I wasn't going
I
to stay
believe
up
I
to
watched
watch
the
that.
entire game.
You did? You stayed up for that? Because,
I believe I watched the entire game.
man, it was about 10:45. They were saying, yeah, we going to get, kicking off at like 10:30. I was like, it ain't no way in hell I'm watching
While that delay
the
was
rest of
going
this
on,
game.
I went ahead and watched BMF real quick. I went ahead and watched BMF on Stars while the delay was
Yeah.
going on. By the time I got out of BMF on Stars, the game was back on.
Yeah, I was not about to stay up to watch the rest of that. But I'll admit, though,
But
I
it was an
probably
ass whipping. So I mean, you ain't really missed nothing. It was more of the same happened in the second
and I was
half.
going
It
to
was
get to
an ass
that
whipping.
because I thought the delay was going to be that momentum changer that was going to get the Chiefs, back in the football game. I really thought that. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, like, I don't want to miss the game, but ain't no way I'm staying up for this. But to me, this whole narrative about, anointing the Bills, or not so much anointing the Bills, but the Chiefs, being exposed
But
because
dethroning the Chiefs.
dethroning the Chiefs. Yeah, like I don't buy that narrative so much. And maybe I take it a little personal because when Lamar beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago, the narrative was, oh, Lamar finally beat Patrick Mahomes. Like that's been this narrative for like 2-3 years now. That he's got to beat Mahomes, whatever. But Josh Allen, who at that point on Sunday hadn't beat Mahomes yet either. I think he was 0-2, hadn't beat Mahomes, but they beat Kansas City in the style that they do, which I understand is different than the way we beat them. We had to come back,
That's
and
yeah.
we had to
So that's what I was getting ready to say.
we had to come back and beat them, and the Chiefs kind of messed up on their own for us to seal the victory. But it's so funny how with two different teams, two different quarterbacks, that the narrative is so different when it comes to beating a particular football team. So now the Bills go in there, they dismantle the Chiefs, and now all of a sudden Buffalo is like they the head honcho, they the head nigga in charge in the AFC, and it's like
Well, Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll let you finish your point. I'm sorry.
yeah, and I was gonna say I'm not buying that just yet. Not yet. Are they one of the best teams in the AFC? Yes, they are. But I think you can't sneeze on what my team has done up to this point. You can't sneeze on the Chargers, who's in the division with the Kansas City Chiefs. Cleveland, I know Cleveland had a bad. I don't want to say that's a bad loss for Cleveland in terms of them playing the Chargers on Sunday, but you kind of got to respect what Cleveland is, can do this season. And then you look around the conference, there's some up and coming teams. Cincinnati, in terms of their style of play, looks good so far. I wouldn't necessarily call them a threat in the AFC, but through their 5 weeks, Cincinnati has looked. They've played better than what they have last year. But I'm not just going to put the Buffalo Bills head and shoulders, above everybody else. And for the Chiefs, I'm not counting the Chiefs out. I'm not stupid enough to do that. I mean, they got some injuries. Edwards-Helaire is done for the year. So they're going to have to figure that situation out. But they did get Josh Gordon off of, being suspended from the NFL. So they got another weapon there. And they still got Tyreek Hill. They still got Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman, and the kid Robinson and Pringle. Like the offense is still potent. You know what I'm saying? They just gotta fix some things. Running game is an issue. Offensive line at times has been an issue. The defense for the Chiefs is trash, like straight trash.
But they've been trash.
I know, but I think when you watch them this year, like through these 5 games, you watch them, like it's really really bad, bruh.
Chris Jones ain't been healthy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too, and Tyrann Matthews got to be shaking his head, like how many more plays can I make to try to help the team out, help this defense going. So I'm not stupid enough to count the Chiefs out. There's still 12 weeks left in the year. So they got time to get it together. Let's remember they're playing the NFC East. Let's remember that they're playing the NFC East, which they still gotta play Dallas, which I think that'll be a great game whenever that game comes. They still gotta play the football team. They're gonna beat the football team. You know what I'm saying? They gotta play the Giants. They're gonna thrash the Giants, and then they gotta
see. I gotta cut you off, bro. Cause I gotta cut you off right here, cause now you making this a fat conversation, no homo, and this conversation ain't that deep. The thing is that there are 3 teams that we are looking at that are Super Bowl contenders in the AFC: the Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens. Everybody else are just hopefuls. Is that a fair assessment?
Hopefuls. Okay.
Everybody else are just hopefuls, but right now Super Bowl contention is between 3 teams: the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
So with that,
so what's your point?
Okay,
it
seems like you don't really. My point is that we're not talking about are the Chiefs in danger of not making the playoffs. We're not. So talking about their regular season, we're not concerned about the regular season. We know where the Chiefs are going to be at by the end of the year, and it's going to be in contention for a Super Bowl.
Sure.
So when we talk about the Chiefs being exposed, we're not talking about exposed to the fact where they might not make the playoffs. We're talking about exposed to the fact where they might not win the Super Bowl. And when we're talking about the 2 other teams that have that are in contention that have played Kansas City, Buffalo played Kansas City the best in comparison to Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So the reason why Buffalo was getting all this praise this week and probably going to be number 1 in the rankings and all those types of things is because they thrashed the Super Bowl representative or the AFC representatives for the Super Bowl last year. They thrashed them. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Whereas if Lamar Jackson and the Ravens had thrashed the Kansas City Chiefs, then we would then I could understand your argument about why Lamar Jackson ain't getting the credit. But I think Buffalo is getting that nod, or Josh Allen is getting that nod over Lamar Jackson in this instance because of how Buffalo beat Kansas City in comparison to how Baltimore beat Kansas City. And by the way, Lamar Jackson, who played a hell of a game then and then played maybe his best game to date Monday night, is gonna get his credit. But right now, when you're talking about in beating the top teams and being a Super Bowl and representing the AFC, you gotta give Buffalo their credit for thrashing last year's representative. So that I think that's where that, and I think that praise this week is valid. But Lamar Jackson, man, I'll let you wax poetic about Lamar Jackson. Because
and before I do
let's be clear, I never.
And before I do that, I want to say to the Chargers, and I understand that the Chargers are not in that group of teams. I think you and I classified them as a sleeper team this season, and they're 4-1. They beat Kansas City also. Not in the way
ass whipping though.
Not in the way that Buffalo did, but they did when the opportunity presented itself for the Chargers to beat them. They took advantage of that, you know.
And by the way, this isn't the first time the Chargers beat the Chiefs.
This isn't the first time that the Chargers as an I hate to put
meaning with Patrick Mahomes at the helm, this isn't the first time that the Chargers beat the Chiefs.
Well, they beat the Chiefs with Phillip Rivers a couple of years ago. But with Justin Herbert at the helm, that was his first win against Patrick Mahomes.
So he was 0-2. So he's 0-2. So he's 0-2 just like
Herbert was
Josh Allen.
Yeah, Herbert was 0-2.
But he was also a rookie though.
He was a rookie. We praised him though. What he was doing his rookie year, He was.
Yeah, but I see where you're trying to go, but then that's also, but see, that argument that you're trying to present is like saying that Justin Herbert is even on Lamar Jackson's level, and we know that's not true.
Yeah, obviously, but I'm just talking about them against Kansas City in the way that they were able to
the Justin Herbert and also the Justin Herbert doesn't have that narrative of he can't beat Kansas City or Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't been in the league long enough, and two, he hasn't really proven himself to be of that ilk. So it's like you're talking about like, for you to compare the Ravens to the Chargers is like saying the Ravens are little niggas or saying the Chargers are big niggas. And we know both of those things aren't true. Yeah. Ravens are big niggas in this league, and the Chargers are maybe mid-tier. Yeah,
I don't think I was comparing the two. I mean, I apologize if I was, but I don't think that's where I was trying to go with that.
I'm just saying that you can't. The stakes are higher for Lamar Jackson than for Justin Herbert because the Baltimore Ravens are legit a Super Bowl contending team. The Chargers are not yet.
Yeah, sure. No, I get that part. I think it was just more me just giving the Chargers, their love because, they started off, they're 4-1, and one of those.
But I hate when you do that, bro.
City. Why? But
that's what I mean. Why? That's what I mean. But that's what I mean by making the conversation fat. That's what I mean. Because if we were just talking about the Chargers, just giving them their props because they were 4-1, that would be one thing.
Yep.
But talking about the Chargers being 4-1, where we're having a conversation about Buffalo and Baltimore, it's because it leaves the perception that we're putting the Chargers in the conversation with Buffalo and Baltimore, and they don't belong in that conversation. Now, if we were off talking about Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen trying to dethrone Patrick Mahomes, and then 5 minutes later said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we need to give the Chargers their credit because they 4-1 and Justin Herbert is playing good football," I'd be with you. But you can't say, in my opinion, it's a lot of teams in the AFC doing their thing. We got Baltimore, Buffalo, and then the Chargers. No. The Chargers ain't in this conversation because it's only 3 teams that we're really talking about that are the big wigs in the AFC.
All right, so from now on, every week on the podcast, I'll just talk about those 3 teams, and then
if you're talking about the big niggas, if you're talking about the big niggas,
I won't even talk about the AFC South. I won't talk about the Chargers. I won't even.
Nope.
I won't even. So I'm gonna make sure.
If you're talking about the big wigs, write it down. No, I want you to write this quote down specifically.
I'm gonna make sure that every week on my phone I'm gonna put okay. I gotta talk about the Ravens, which I do anyway, whether they good or not. I gotta talk about Buffalo. I gotta talk about Kansas City, and I'm not gonna talk about nothing else. Let's just talk. Go ahead.
No, you got to add a note. Write this down with your notes. When we're talking about Super Bowl contention, those are the only 3 teams that need to be talked about.
Okay, because I didn't even know we were talking about Super Bowl, like under the umbrella of Super Bowl contention. I thought we were.
Well, you said teams. You said.
I thought we were talking about the Chiefs and stuff.
You said there are other teams in the AFC making noise. So when you're talking about the Chiefs are the creme de la creme. There's only 2 other teams competing with the creme de la creme, and it's not the Chargers.
Sure. I think I agree with everything you're saying here. I think you have a problem with me talking about other teams on the come up in this conference.
When they're not really competing with the Chiefs, yes. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. But the Chargers... When
they're not competing with the Chiefs... That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Chargers beat the Chiefs. That's not competing? Or that's just... I'm asking a question. My nigga, I'm asking a question, dog.
We could have easily just moved on, bro. But here we are. Now the podcast about to be 2 hours.
Podcast been about to be 2 hours, my nigga.
Bruh, are you serious right now? So you're saying because they won in the regular season... that they're competing with the Chiefs when we're talking about being the big wigs in the AFC?
I think you have to. I mean, what you're just gonna throw away the notion that the Chargers didn't beat Kansas City. Like
I never said that.
That's a big
never
win.
Said that.
But I'm saying that's a big win for the Chargers. That's a big win for them.
Let me phrase it to you this way, because maybe you're not getting it. Do the Chargers have a chance to beat the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl? Be honest. Don't give me the. Don't give me the bullshit. Don't give me the semantics. Don't give me the semantics.
Why?
Are the Chargers
That's what this podcast is. Like what? I can't give you semantics.
That's the problem, because that's bullshit. If you say to me any faction of the Chargers can beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, I'm going to say to you, you're full of shit. So go ahead and tell me you're full of shit.
So that's like crazy to say that the Chargers could beat the Chiefs in the AFC title game. That's
yes.
Crazy. That's crazy to say.
Yes.
I don't think that's crazy to say.
So
I don't think that's crazy to say. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, I don't think it's gonna happen. But I don't think that's insane.
All right, Matt. You sound like Max Kellerman. You playing both sides, bro.
How am I playing both sides? How am I playing both sides?
You're playing both sides. You're saying you don't believe they're gonna win, but you don't think they're gonna win, but they got a chance. They don't got a chance, bro.
They got a chance. Every team has a chance. What are you talking about? They don't have a chance?
Pending injury, right? Pending injury, calls, those types of things.
But I'm not even going that deep into it. They have a chance. All
right. I'm gonna just let that ride.
Yeah, like come on, fam. But yeah, Lamar Jackson.
All right, man. Tell me about Lamar Jackson, man. Thank you, man. Because that's some bullshit.
Lamar Jackson's the MVP right now. You know, we talking about saying crazy stuff. I'm gonna say this. That nigga that's the MVP right now.
Crazy though.
Huh?
That's not crazy. That's not crazy to say. Okay. That's not crazy to say.
Some people.
Saying the Chargers got a chance to beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship is crazy to say.
Okay, what? Come on, man. Why are you taking me back, bro?
I'm sorry, bro. Because you just made a crazy statement and then backed it up saying, "I know this is crazy, but Lamar Jackson being the MVP
because most people
is not a
think
crazy
it
statement.
is. I mean, this is not a popular opinion. This is not this is not a popular opinion. Some people are saying,
but it's not a crazy opinion.
Okay, whatever. It's not a popular opinion. I've heard people say he's entered the MVP race, and even I had that opinion, you know, right after the game last night, and then I slipped on it, and I was like, you know what? This dude is the MVP of the league right now after 5 games.
He's number 5. Yeah, he's number 5 in passing and number 8 in rushing. Though.
Yeah, but forget all that. But forget all that. Forget all that. The numbers and stuff. I don't care about that right now. Who else in the league right now is doing more with less right now? When you look at all the MVP candidates right now, I mean, we talked about Kyler Murray. I don't think we mentioned Justin Herbert, but I know people got Justin Herbert in their MVP discussion. But those guys have their teams intact. Like, there's not a
who got Justin Herbert in their MVP race?
Oh, bro, you got to check out the Twitter timeline, bro. Like it's
I don't want to.
But it's from people that got stars against their name. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about
shit
that.
To me. And you mean checks by the name, that's stars.
Checks. That's what I meant. But yeah, people got Herbert in there. I remember someone had Stafford in the MVP conversation. Tom Brady. You know,
Tom Brady is legitimate,
and that's legit. Yeah, the Tom Brady thing is legit, even though I don't like his ass.
So you haven't heard Dak Prescott in the MVP race?
I've heard Dak in the MVP race.
Also. Okay, all right, because
I have,
because that makes sense to me.
I have, but my point is that which one of those quarterbacks is doing more with less? Like when you look at those other quarterbacks, I mean, and you mentioned Dak Prescott. I mean, he's got all his weapons there. You know, defense is playing, you know, better. Got one of the best corners in the game in Diggs
they're playing better.
What's that?
Yeah. I about to say they playing better. I wouldn't call them a good defense, but I mean, or a great defense. They're playing better for certain.
One of the best corners in the game they got on that unit right
Sure.
now. You look at Kyler Murray. They got all their guys intact. There's not a major injury, offense or defense, that's impacting them, negatively right now. Justin Herbert, got their guys back. The Ravens have 13 guys on injured reserve. I'm just going to point out the obvious, the 3 running backs, right before the season started. Marcus Peters, gone for the season. And we've been feeling the effects of that, in the first few weeks of the season. My defense is some trash right now. We can't even get to the basics of tackling. Even you go back to the Denver game last week, we couldn't tackle dudes. So Lamar Jackson is literally putting this team on his back. I mean, last night that defense was trash. Last night we won that game. In addition to Lamar Jackson doing what he did in the fourth quarter, we won that game because the Colts missed a kick.
That nigga missed the kick.
He missed the kick. And it was something else. I can't remember the other play. Block punt.
Oh, and that
block punt. Block field goal. Block field goal.
Yeah.
Missed the kick. Those two things.
And an extra point that was missed earlier in the game by that
yes.
kick.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't like my defense made plays, to get off the field. Those last few drives that the Colts had on offense, they was working us, bro. And without those special teams plays, without those, we don't get that.
You
win.
lose.
We don't get that win. Lamar Jackson doesn't get the coverage he's getting right now.
Right.
He is carrying his football team on his back right now. He's doing more with less than any quarterback that's in the top 3-4 for MVP right now. He's doing more with less, and I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I will say this, just to throw some dirt. He didn't really start cooking until the secondary only had 3 cornerbacks. I will throw that dirt in there, but
there you go.
But you do what you do. You gotta do what you do with what's available, and he's still having the fumbles. Right?
Yeah, at the goal line. Yep.
Yeah, and he's still having the fumbles. And then I guess his knee was down, so they didn't call that
so
one where
the second one, yeah. It was the second.
I'm talking about the one they ran back.
Oh, you're talking about the Colts player with the knee.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the lateral. It wasn't the knee.
The lateral.
It was the lateral.
Oh, it was the lateral. Oh.
It was the lateral that wasn't.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Okay.
Which is crazy because when you watch that replay, it didn't look like a forward pass. It didn't look like a forward pass.
Yeah, it's illegal to me. It definitely
but I think but my man at work was explaining this to me. He said that it was a forward pass because when the guy lateraled it, and he agreed it was a lateral, the guy didn't have complete possession of it because he bobbled it when he caught it, which means he didn't have control. Once he had control, that's what he explained to me. I didn't know. I didn't know that rule.
Sure.
If
that's the rule, then that's the rule. But
either way, they did score on that drive. Nonetheless, it wasn't like we caught a break off for that. They went down.
Yeah, but that's a momentum. But that's a momentum thing, though. But that is a momentum thing. That is a momentum thing.
No question about it.
But this ain't about the Colts. I let you have that one.
Can I say one more thing? I want to put this out there too.
Yeah.
Our brother Taz, who's a big time Colts fan. 10:37 last night, he texted me. He says, "You good, bro?" This is when we were down 22-3. This was right after the fumble at the goal line, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna let him have that one. I ain't even respond to him. I'm gonna let him have that one." And then Later on that night, we make the comeback. We get the win in overtime,
I
and
was sick, bruh. I was sick.
I text him back and I said, "Hey," I said, "Are you good, bro?" This is like 11:36 at night, and
I was sick, bro. I was sick, bro. Once I seen Calais Campbell block that field goal, though, I knew it was over.
And Tavon Young, Tavon Young got bailed out because that was a boneheaded play.
Yeah, but there you go once again. That field goal kicking, like, that's sick.
Yeah, niggas was saying he had a hip issue or something.
Sick. Yeah, but I was sick, bro. I really want to try to lose that game, obviously. I was sick.
I'm sure you were, brother. I'm sure you were.
I was sick. I stayed up. Like, all right, bet I'm about to watch them take this L. And, yeah, I'm sick.
Come back.
Nah. No cornerback. No cornerbacks in the secondary. But, yeah, so, but in all seriousness, I think this is Lamar Jackson. This was his statement game. I don't know what his statement game was before this one, but for me, this was his. Okay, you think that was his best game before this game?
No. Well, you said statement game. I don't classify statement game as best game. But no.
What do you think Lamar Jackson's best game?
His best game?
Career game.
Probably career game. See, I think about Cleveland last year. I think about that game on Monday Night Football last year. I don't remember the numbers per se, but I remember the moment. And maybe that's different from it being his best game.
Sure. I'm gonna say this is the best game he's ever played in his career. Just my opinion.
That's his best game against the Colts. That's his best game, career. That's
his best career game he's ever, in my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion.
Against the Colts. Yes.
Yeah. But shout out to him. Whatever. Fuck him. The Steelers beat the Denver Broncos. Yeah, fuck them. The Steelers play the Broncos. They win. I want to say, was it 25-17? I want to say.
I don't know.
And look, man, we needed to win. We needed to win. This was the most complete game we played as a team offensively. So it's good to see that Najee Harris had 146 yards from scrimmage. 120 of those were actually rushing yards and not receiving yards. So that's always a good sign to see as we trying to progress the running game along in the season. Your boy threw 25 attempts. That's right where I want to keep him.
He and my boy.
Just enough to make a couple of plays and just enough to not fuck it up. For his arm to get tired and whatever things that he does as an old man. So 25 throws, it's almost like he was back in 2004. Like, don't throw no more than 25 throws, dog. Stay right there. Let the running game and the defense do what they do. Shout out to James Pierre. Juju Smith-Schuster is out for the year. For the Steelers fans who are concerned, I would tell you, don't be concerned. Look at this as a great opportunity for Chase Claypool because he's going to be getting more slot opportunities, and I think he's going to dominate in the slot. That's just my personal opinion. And we get Seattle at home Sunday night with no Russell Wilson. So, Steelers fans, if there was ever a time to be optimistic, it's right now on our way, hopefully, to 500.
So, I'm gonna sound like a hater right here. Did anybody have the Broncos winning this game? Like, I'm curious. Like,
I think that would be I'll say this: they were underdogs by 1 point, only 1 point.
Just 1 point.
So it's not like, they were underdogs by only 1 point. So it's not like, Denver or it's not like Pittsburgh. Look, man, Pittsburgh has been absolute shit in the first quarter of this season. So
I get that.
mean, the only thing the only thing that Pittsburgh I feel like was really holding on to as far as hope is winning this game. If you thought Steelers were going to win this game, was pedigree, like the opportunity of a team being together under Coach Tomlin, and he knowing what to do in these types of situations, and that really hasn't amounted to a whole lot. Like, but this is the worst quarterback we've played all year. No shade to Teddy
I was gonna
Bridgewater,
say,
but
yeah, he's playing solid this year. But I'll say in response to that though, I think the type of quarterback that he is, he's not a guy that is gonna consistently kill you with his legs. Like Teddy Bridgewater, I think at this stage of his career is more of a pocket passer than he is a guy that's just gonna kill you with his legs. So
well,
I think that favored you guys in this game, that he was just gonna stand in the pocket and he's gonna hit the open guy.
well, I think I don't think that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is that he isn't the most prolific quarter. He's the worst. I mean, I mean, we just got to break down the quarterbacks we've played. We've played Josh Allen. We've played Derek Carr. We played Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen
and
is
Joe
Josh
Burrow.
Allen.
And Joe Burrow, right?
And Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow. But all these guys not only have running capability, but they're accurate passers for the most part.
Yeah.
So Teddy Bridgewater was the least accurate of those five. And he like I said, he's the worst quarterback we've played all year. So I mean, but with that being said, it's not like Javonte Williams is a beast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you had to sum up who was having a better year going into this game, the obvious answer is the Denver Broncos was having a better year. So I mean, I can't really speak to your I can't
Yeah, I don't know.
people.
For me, it was just because
I think your the conclusion you came to is drawn from Pittsburgh, you respecting Pittsburgh as a football team and not necessarily who's been playing better, because it's clear who's been playing better.
Sure, no question. The Broncos have played better football, but I just thought that in that spot at home against that team, for some reason, for me, it was hands down the Steelers were going to win the football game. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe because I haven't heard a lot of people talk, preview these games over the week. But I just got the sense that, Pittsburgh's home. The matchup is favorable in terms of who they're going against. This is their game to win.
Yeah, nah, I definitely didn't see it like that because, like I said, if we don't get a pass rush, and if we don't get this running game going, we're not gonna be a good team. And we got the running game going. The pass rush wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. It wasn't up to the level I'm used to, but it wasn't bad.
How many sacks y'all had?
I don't know. I don't remember exactly how many sacks we got, but we weren't terrible. We weren't great. We just won the game. We did what we had to do to win the game. And I'm excited that we got the running game going. Hopefully it's not because we played a bad rushing team who, even though statistically they were rated really really good. Hopefully it wasn't because we played a bad rushing team, rushing defense. I'm sorry. Hopefully it's because we're starting to gel a little bit.
Yeah. So next week, my Ravens got the Chargers coming to town. 4-1 versus 4-1, and man, the defense is gonna be like they're gonna have work cut out for them because the Chargers, that offense is that it can be I wouldn't classify them as a potent offense, but they can light it up. Like that dude's got an arm on him. And
no, they're a potent offense. They scored 47. They just scored 47.
Yeah, but what they averaging though?
I don't know, but I mean, I still think that we know Justin Herbert puts up numbers. We know that.
Sure. I mean, he puts up the yards and all that stuff. I just don't know what their like points per game is right now. But
Sure.
I would say that the way my defense has been playing lately, they gonna have to show up their tackling because for like the second week straight, third game overall this season, they've just had some terrible moments where they're just lacking tackling skills at this point. So it's going to be a tough road, but man, I think we can pull this one out. It's going to be at the crib, so definitely looking forward to that game. That should be. I mean, to me, that's probably the game of the early, 1 o'clock window of all the games that's going on around that time. And then you got the Seahawks, right, with Geno Smith at quarterback.
Yep. Like I said, get the running game going, pass rush, we'll be fine.
Yeah. I just wanna shout out Geno Smith coming in relief for Russell against the Rams. It was the Rams, right? I don't remember who they played, but
yeah,
he came in relief. That first drive, that was a really great drive he put together. Scored the touchdown. And then the second drive, which, he threw the interception, wasn't his fault. Lockett slipped, and, had he not slipped, that would have been a completion there. Overall, I thought Geno, came in, did what he had to do, looked sharp. But it's one thing when you come in relief. Niggas don't have a lot of, tape on you. They're not prepared for you. This time around, Geno, niggas is gonna be prepared for you. So interested.
Shout out to Geno Smith, man.
Interested to see, how he plays Sunday night.
Get well Saquon Barkley. I hate that we got to keep having this conversation, but get well Saquon Barkley.
Is he out for the year now?
I don't know, but he's injured, and it don't look good.
Yeah, I saw the injury. The ankle swelled up, like pretty bad too.
I don't want to keep straight. We kind of running on time, but get well soon.
Did you watch the fight?
Of course I did. Now I will admit I was having a little situation. I was having a little situation at the crib. You know what I'm saying, and it didn't end well in my favor. But I did see what I needed to see. In short, Deontay Wilder is the exact same boxer, and I would love to like really get into my deep dive on it, but I don't want to. But I will say this, and obviously for those who didn't see the fight, Tyson Fury knocked out Deontay Wilder in the 11th. It was a good fight. Deontay Wilder did land some blows. He knocked him down, I think 2 or 3 times.
Two times.
And in the same round. So he was going for the kill. And pretty much when Tyson Fury got up, he got tired. Deontay got tired, and he just boxed him down. I'll say this, and I'll try to make it as short as I hope that this doesn't draw a whole bunch of reaction from you. The Deontay Wilder.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to. I am. Yes.
You trying to
Deontay Wilder hype
nigga?
has officially died. I am trying to silence you. Yes.
Yo, nah, man. I'm black. I'm a black man.
Deontay.
Man. I don't like being silenced.
The Deontay Wilder hype is officially dead for me. I wish him the best, and all those things, but my dreams of him being the next big, champ, and the one of those, up there with the with the elites, that conversation is over for me. I'm done. I don't think he's gonna learn to box. I don't think he wants to learn how to box. There are reports that Mayweather offered to train him, and he declined.
So I watched the second half of the fight, and I saw the knockout in the 11th. He is still the same guy. I thought he would, improve on his boxing skill, but obviously we saw what happened. People talking about a part 4, from what I've heard. There doesn't need to be a part 4.
Please don't.
There really doesn't need to be a part 4 for this.
Please don't.
I'm good.
I mean, let's be let's be clear. The only reason I wanted to see part 3 is because you got to finish the it's a Trinity. You know what I'm saying? It's a trilogy. You got to have a trilogy.
Of course.
And we haven't had a good trilogy heavyweight class in a brick. So I wanted that. But let's be clear. For those, Tyson Fury whooped Deontay Wilder's ass 3 times. Let's be very clear about that. I know the first one was a draw. He got his ass whooped 3 times. This is dead. This is dead. As long as Tyson Fury is in the game, what you want me to say? He can't beat Slim.
Nah. He definitely can't do it, bro. Shout out to all of our Facebook Live viewers in the chat room. We appreciate the support. Shout out to all the listeners out there. Make sure y'all just check this out on all of our streaming platforms. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also, follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Make sure you click the like button on the Facebook page. And also, we're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you got questions or comments, just hit us up on email, barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So that's it for the show. I am tired. I'm ready to get up out of here. Maestro, my brother, it's been real. We do this again next week. And I hate the Red Sox. I'll leave it at that. Y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good week. Peace.
Love.
Recording stopped.